Good morning, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today's been hectic already and we're just getting started. We got to the shop this morning, walked in and I'm like, nice car. Oh, sick, nice power steering fluid on the ground. The gosh damn mother freaking power steering pump was leaking oil. There's two case halves. I'll show you guys, but it's in the oven because I'll explain in a minute. Two case halves, O-ring in between. That son of a gun was most likely leaking, so I started pulling it off. As I'm pulling the power steering pump off, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna have it off again. We might as well Cerakote it. So, go to sandblast it very carefully this time. Get it in the oven, go to turn the oven on, the freaking oven doesn't work. So I spent probably an hour rewiring the oven because the wiring was burnt on it. So put new wiring on it, now it's in the oven, 60 minutes, gas out cycle, pull it out, let it cool down, and we're gonna spray out the satin aluminum Cerakote. And I'm really hoping that when we put the pump back on the car after it's put back together, it works. If it doesn't work, I am buying a brand new OEM Mitsubishi water oil power steering pump. That was issue number one. Okay, we're gonna get that situated today, 100%. We saw the freaking oil leak from the turbo return line. I need those washers for the AN fittings. Cannot find them locally, so that's gonna have to wait. With the problem that I discovered last night as we were driving the car, pulled it back in the shop, went to bleed the ACD pump, and we're not getting any power to the ACD pump. So we need to dive into that today. The transfer case ACD section or portion, I guess you would call it, is completely dry, and it's a little sketch, a little sus. So I need to get that situated so we can get some fluid in there, get it bled. Obviously we need to get power to the pump though, so it can pump the fluid from here into the transfer. And then the next problem is, as we were driving yesterday, pulled in the shop, I noticed that it was not rolling very well. So for some reason, when you drive it and use the brakes for a while, the caliper, I think it's this caliper, it may have been both calipers, I think it's this caliper mainly, for some reason was locking up when it was getting warm. I guess now we have to pull the brakes off the front, figure out what the hell is going on there. I really just want to drive this car. That's literally all I want to do, is just put it together and go drive it. And we could, but it's not really worth it because a lot of these problems may cause much bigger problems in the future. I haven't filmed anything on this situation with either the brakes or the ACD because I feel like you guys are probably sick of watching me try and attempt to fix problems on this car, but I figured I'd give you guys a little update. Pulled the calipers off, everything looked fine. I'm not going to deal with that now because I feel like that's a much easier fix versus the ACD. Here's where we're at with the ACD. Completely tore apart all of our harnesses that we extended, made sure we didn't have any non-connected wires. And then I figured that's kind of pointless. Let's go ahead and start actually diagnosing it properly. So what I know right now, this is how power runs to this main connector right there. And that connects onto the ACD pump. It goes from our fusible link, AKA our battery. It runs up to our ACD relay. And then from the relay, it runs down to the pump. We know it's good from the fusible link to the relay, and from the relay down to the pump it's good. Now we have to figure out why we're not getting power through the relay down to the pump. I did hardwire the pump. If you connect the pump right to a power source, it'll turn on, and it does turn on. It runs perfectly, smoothly, fine, absolutely beautiful. So all we need to figure out is why the hell that relay is not sending power. I don't know if the relay is bad. Something triggers the relay to close to get power to go to there, and that's not happening. So that's what we got to figure out. Okay, I've been through and through with this thing, trying to figure out what the problem is with the ACD system. My original thought was a little bit incorrect because if that trigger wire had constant power, that means the pump would constantly be running. And obviously that is not how it should be. I did finally pull the codes. I had to figure out how to pull the codes because I've never done it before. We were getting a code 31 for the ACD system, which is a steering angle sensor open circuit. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, this is all we've been doing today. This and trying to get the power steering pump coated, but I haven't got it coated yet. We have been at this thing for about, what, 8 or 9 hours today and made zero progress. Obviously, I'm not gonna upload my zero progress today, so I will pick this video back up tomorrow, and I hope and pray that we can get some progress made on this thing. All right, my friends, good morning. It's now the next day, and today we have to figure out what's going on with this car. So I slept on it, thought about it a little bit, and I realized that I'm taking it way too far. I'm going way too deep into it. I need to simplify things. Like I always have to do that whenever I'm doing electrical work, because I'm not very good at electrical work. So my first thought process was it has to be something that we did in the harness extension when we did the battery or the fuse box relocation. It can most certainly be something else. So what I did is I grabbed all the codes from the ABS system and from the ACD system. So where's my phone? ACD system had one code, which is code 31, which was a steering angle sensor open circuit. And then ABS system had a metric ass load of codes. So code 12, 13, 21, 22. Those are a code for each ABS sensor. All 4 ABS sensors are throwing a code. And then code 81, 82, and 83. Those are all I think a short circuit or an open circuit for the steering angle sensor. So what we're gonna do is just run through and chase down those codes instead of trying to figure out why we're not getting power, even though we could be getting power, but obviously the pump's not supposed to run all the time. I'm just gonna simplify it, figure out why those codes are on, and if we can figure out why those codes are on, we'll figure out why our ACD system is not working properly. What is weird is the car is not throwing the ABS light, which I thought was a little strange, but it is what it is. Those codes are in the system. So let's chase down those codes, grab the laptop, figure out what those codes are for, and chase them down, see what's going on. Okay, we have the ABS manual pulled up online right here. It's off of EvoScan. They provide all the manuals online, which is super nice. So the 11 and 12 are open circuit or a short circuit for the front sensors. And then 21 and 22 are just the sensor system codes. And then let's see, what else did we have? 81, 82, 83, steering angle velocity sensor ST1, ST2, and STN. I think we should probably dive into this first, just because it sounds, well, first of all, I'm just gonna double check that all the sensors are on the car and plugged in, because we did have the front sensors off. Well, I verified that all of the ABS sensors are on and plugged in, so I'm just gonna run through this little checklist right here. This is for codes 81, 82, 83. And see if everything checks out here. You got to measure some resistance, continuity, all that good stuff. All right, guys, I give up. We've spent like 5 more hours this morning trying to figure it out. There's one wiring connector that I found. It is going to, what do they call that thing? The steering angle sensor, I believe it was called. A wire there that's supposed to have 12 volts and it does not have 12 volts. And I traced every wire that it's supposed to be connected to. There's complete continuity everywhere. I checked the ABS pump, everything's fine there. So I don't know what is going on. Honestly, right now, I don't really care. I put the car back together. For the most part, the interior is all back together. Wiring's completely put back together. And then went ahead, center coated our power steering pump. So that's how she looks now. Waiting on that thing to cool down. We can pull that out of the oven, get it reassembled, get it back on the car, and maybe actually go drive this thing. I'm gonna go pick up some new seals for the power steering pump though before we put it back together. All right, we're gonna take a little break from working on this car, and we're gonna pull out this car and this car for the first time ever together. Coming up and you ain't got time to wash your car like me, let me show you how you do it, provided you're ceramic coated. Give it a little pressure wash, get your Ego 650 CFM out, wash this boy. Is that a booger? Someone pooped on my car. Tastes like candy. this gray one's growing on me a lot, boys. She actually looks kind of good with these cut springs.
Yeah?
Beautiful. This is the first time we've ever had both 10s out at the same time. And it's always really fun, you know, driving cars. And seeing a car rolling. A car rolling versus a car sitting still always looks much different. So seeing the gray 10 roll for the first time, it's kind of fun. What do you think, brother?
What do I think about what?
The gray one.
It feels just like Rose. Same clutch.
Imagine that.
Same mods.
Yeah. Good. Gang. Got some dirty wheels on her though. We've got to clean the wheels. I cleaned the car, but not the wheels. Oh no, hope I don't fall. All right, boys, real quick before we move on to the next part of the video. April 24th, 10 a.m. We have a new line of clothing coming out. So this is one of the shirts. This is actually a restock. These things sold out in like 10 or 11 seconds last time. I don't know what it actually was. It was very, very quick. So restock on these black drips. Got the drip logo on the back, and then black with the red she built. That thing's sick. Blue with the red she built, and then this shirt right here, which is the same as this one here, red with the white drip logo on the back. And then we have 3 new jet tags coming out. This is of course my favorite. If you know, you know. She built. We have a new cold start for the boys. That's sick. Camo to match the, of course, the half wrap Evo 10. And then a super clean Vossen Live with Passion jet tag. So these 4 new shirts, 3 new jet tags. Saturday, April 24th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you guys for the support. So the freshly coated pump is now on the car. Went ahead, fired it up. We are good to go. No leaks, no noises, no nothing else. Got to finish putting in all the hardware. We'll be good to go. Finally done with that whole freaking power steering pump saga. Next thing of the day is finally getting rid of our ghetto manual oil pressure gauge that's sitting in the car. Oil pressure is obviously very important, especially on a brand new motor. Got to make sure it's not going to drop low at all. So we have this AEM oil pressure gauge picked up off MAP. I'll have a link down below. This is going to be very easy to install, and the reason for that is because we already have the remote sender off the back of the block installed. So all we need to do is unscrew this manual hose right here, or the manual gauge right here. This is where our sender is going to sit. We can mount it back on the firewall somewhere, kind of hidden out of the way. Run the wires to the inside of the car, and let's see where we're going to mount this thing. I have an A-pillar pod. I think it sits on the very bottom of this pillar though, and I think these 2 gauges are going to be in the way of that pillar pod. Let's give it a shot real quick. It's a nice carbon fiber one I've had laying around. This guy here would look very nice. I guess we could mount it right there, but it's so cluttered, so I'm not going to do that. I got to figure out a different setup for our gauges, how we want everything to sit. I like those 2 there. That's wideband and boost. Oil pressure, we got to figure out something else though. So this here's where we mounted the wideband and the oil pressure. I'm gonna move the boost gauge somewhere else, and I should probably rotate these so they're straight, but I like that a lot. The boost gauge wasn't an AEM, so it didn't really match. So I wanted 2 matching gauges right there, but we're all good. Oil pressure is Gucci to go. Same with the AFRs, sick. Oh, and somehow our ABS and our ACD lights are both lit up now, and before they weren't. Before we started messing with the system, trying to figure out what was going on, those were not on, but now they are. More problems. All right, my friends, that is going to be our wrap for today's video. Before you guys comment, you didn't accomplish anything in this video whatsoever, which I already know. I already know that. and it is annoying me. Really, really wanted to get the ACD issue fixed up, but it is what it is. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out. I am pretty stoked that we got a solid power steering pump finally on the car. Looks much better now. Also, we do have a black wastegate in that box right there. That is gonna replace our purple wastegate. So that is really gonna kind of tie everything together. And I think that'll look much nicer, especially when we get that manifold polished. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, even though we didn't get anything done, really. Hopefully tomorrow we can actually make some solid progress and move a little bit further forward with this build. Peace out, boys and girls. I'll see you guys tomorrow.